Hi everyone, so today I'm going to do a get to know me video. It's been suggested and I thought it would be nice for you to see a bit more of my personality. And my friend Matt is going to ask the questions, so he's next to me on my laptop. So Matt is my good friend, say hi!
Hi, I'm America.
He's from America. I'm teaching him how to speak posh. So he's going to ask
Sure,
me
how to speak proper English.
proper English. Alright, I'm ready. Hit me.
Oh, for a question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, so the first question coming from Facebook is from Mitch. And he asked, what's your favorite evening in? And what's your favorite event out?
I think you might need to speak a bit louder.
Alright. The first question is from Mitch from Facebook. And he asked, what's your favorite evening in? And what's your favorite event out?
Okay, so what's my favourite evening in and what's my favourite evening out? Okay, so evening in, if it was with the girls, then it would be wine and Indian food, and then watching something like Sing Along Greatest Showman. And then I guess if it was a guy, then it would be kind of the same, but then other stuff included. And evening out, I love live music, so it would either be going to see a live band or going to see a musical. Yeah.
Alright, that sounds good.
Do you like musicals?
Extremely interesting. From Robin, and she asked, what advice would you give to your younger self?
What advice would I give to my younger self? Don't be so hard on yourself, because everybody fucks up. And if you stop being so self-critical, then you're going to be a lot happier. But I think, yeah, just to be kinder to myself, because I think the things I went through, I needed to go through, and they've shaped the person that I am. But yeah, my brain works pretty fast and I am prone to overthinking. So yeah, just to be kinder to myself.
Alright, the next question comes from Maria. She says, what have you learned about yourself from being a counselor? Because I believe you sound like a spiritual counselor now.
Say the last bit again.
Because I believe you've become like a spiritual counselor now, right?
Yeah, so the question is, what have I learned about myself from being a counsellor? So I was a regular counsellor, a humanistic counsellor, person-centred counsellor for quite a few years. And I still incorporate that into what I do, but now it's taken on a more spiritual element. But it's still it's still the same thing, just with, spiritual stuff included. What was it? What do I enjoy the most about it, or what was it?
What you've learned? Like,
Oh, what have I learnt?
yeah.
Oh wow, that's such a big question, because I've learnt so much. What have I learnt? Well, I guess through my training, I learned that people are so quick to kind of put themselves down if they're going through hardship, or, oh, I should be happy, I should be this, I should be that. But all of the people, myself included, on that training course, I think the reason we have so much empathy is because we know what pain is like. We've been through it. And I think to know pain and to know struggle and challenge is to it's to know yourself, and then you can really relate to the people that you're working with, and it's not just lip service because you've been through not the same things but similar, or you can relate to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one good way to put it. I also think just from my side, you learned, like you said before, not to be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Things will get better. It's a real big thing. So the next set of questions come
Speak
from,
up a bit if you can, because I'm struggling to hear you, so I think they might.
I'm like right next to my mic, so
I
I'm not
know.
sure if I can get it not heard, which is the hard part. But I'll try.
Okay.
The next questions come from your best friend, and there's no name, but it says, from our childhood together, what one moment would you give anything to do again?
So my best friend is called Emma, and yeah, she's like a sister to me, and we met when I was 12 and she was 13. What one thing? Oh my god, there are so many things, Emma. It's so hard to pin it down, because yeah, there are so many. We were really naughty, but we had a lot of fun. Cheeky. I mean, we were naughty too, but mostly cheeky, so we got away with it. Oh god, there are so many experiences, but I'd have to say the day I met you. And I remember we went to boarding school, so it was called prep, so homework basically, where you had to like go into a classroom and do your homework under supervision. And I remember kind of noticing her, and she was, I love you, she knows this about herself, she was quite gobby, and I was quite shy, and she came over to me and she asked me if I fancied a boy, and I was like, no, and then I was like, okay, maybe a little bit. And we just started talking, and we both went to boarding school in the country. So coming from London to the country, it's like a culture shock because there's nothing but white people and cows. And I come from a diverse part of London. It's just like a different world. And yeah, and she too had SMA, which is spinal muscular atrophy, the same condition as me. And I don't think at that point I'd ever met someone else with my condition. And she also came from a single mum. And she also came from London. And there was just so much that we had in common. And from that day on, we were inseparable. And she made the whole being away from home thing a lot easier. So thank you, Emma, I love you. And also, I'd been to a really shitty school before, so I'd not had the best time of it, and I'd really gone into myself. And she is an extrovert, and I'm more of a mix between introvert and extrovert, so she really helped to bring me out of myself. Yeah.
Cool. The next question from Emma is, what's your funniest memory of the time we spent together outside of school?
Oh, outside of school. Gosh, again, like all these memories are coming to me. Okay, let me try to think of just one. I can't think of a specific memory. What the hell? I'm thinking of the times we used to go to Butlins and how much fun that was, and all the stupid things that we used to do. And then I'm thinking of, okay, so me and Emma went to Brighton. We got the train to Brighton, and we were drinking and having fun, and then we had an argument. We're really like sisters, so for the most part we got along, but when we fought, we were like cat and dog. And so we were arguing, and she threw her glass down, and I remember I threw my glass down, but it just bounced, and that made us laugh. But then we ended up, we were quite drunk as well, so I can't really remember, and it was a long time ago. But we started to argue again. And so I can't remember who stormed off, one of us did. And so then I ended up outside a bar, and this guy was like, come in, have a drink. So I was like, okay, I don't really know what to do. So I did, and I was telling him about, I'm so upset because I had this argument with my best friend and I don't know where she is. And he was like, oh, come to a party with me. And I was like, dude, I can't go to a party. I have to go and find my best friend. So anyway, he was trying to convince me, and I just went out of this bar. And then the police came up to me, and she'd somehow ended up in Hove. And then the police were like, okay, get into the car. And I was like, no, I don't want to get into the car. I can't get into the car because, you know, you're going to mess up my wheelchair. Because powered wheelchairs, if they're not dismantled right, you can break them really easily. And so they were like, okay. So I drove in front of the police car down Brighton High Street, the main street in Brighton. And it was like one of the best moments of my life. And then I got to the police station and she was there, and we were like, you know, we made up instantly. And then the policeman was so nice to us, like they were so nice. And then we had to call our parents, and Emma's mum was pissed. She was really pissed, but my mum thought it was kind of funny. She was a bit pissed as well, but she thought it was funny. And then they let us go into a room, and they foolishly told us there was the phone you could call anywhere in the world. So we were just calling everybody that we knew, and it was just like, yeah, one of the best memories ever.
Sounds fun.
It was.
The next question, I would imagine it has to do when you two were together, is what was your favorite outfit?
He said, what was our favourite outfit? We loved clothes. We loved fashion. I still do love clothes. I've got way too many clothes, half of which I don't wear, but, you know, I can't part with them. I'd say, okay, so we were teenagers in the 90s. And if you remember those trouser and short combos, I remember there was a Steps video, and I can't remember, maybe it was The Last Thing on My Mind, I think, and they wore blue satin versions, and we really wanted those ones, but we couldn't find those ones. So I had a pair of white ones, and I wore it with a black and white blouse thing, and I just loved it so much. But side note, me and Emma had a lot of the same clothes, and it wasn't a surprise that we would come out in the morning wearing the same thing, and then we were like, no, you change, and then we'd just give in and just wear the same thing. People always thought we were twins anyway, and we used to kind of go along with that sometimes. Okay.
All right. The next question and the last one. Seems like a deep one. If you could go back and speak to one person you've lost contact with, what would it be? And what would you say? Who would it be? I'm sorry.
Okay, so from school and college, this is from Emma still. If I could go back and if I could speak to one person I've lost contact with, I think it would be Toby. Yeah. So when we were at school, me, Emma, and two boys, Toby and Tim, we did everything together. And Toby was a very deep soul and a bit of a tortured soul. And long story short, we just all lost contact, and the rest of us have had contact, but he's like kept himself to himself. And what would I say to him? I would say, I miss you, and you were cared about way more than you think. Yeah.
All right. Now we got some questions from Abby. When did you start your spiritual journey?
Okay, so these are questions from my really good friend Abby, and the first question is, when did I start my spiritual journey?
Yes.
Well, I would say I've always been on a spiritual journey, but it was just less conscious. You know, I've always felt that there's a reason for most things and that there's something more. But, you know, when I really opened up to it's hard to put these things into words sometimes, but basically, I'd say, yeah, my real accelerated spiritual journey started when my ex-partner, who I was with for a long time, I was with him for 19 years, and I ended that relationship, which was one of the hardest things I ever did, and a month later he died, and it was honestly one of the hardest things I've ever gone through, and you know, it could have destroyed me. It nearly did, but part of the grieving process when I first found out that he had died is that I felt his presence, I felt his spirit, and it was undeniable. There were quite a few weird things that were happening, and I could just feel it. I could feel his energy. He spoke to me through my thoughts, and that's how spirit communicates with me, predominantly is through my thoughts and through bodily sensations now, but this was earlier in my journey, so back then it was thoughts, and yeah, and I just knew he was there, and that made me question everything, and I guess led, I wouldn't say it's an existential crisis, it was more of an existential questioning, you know. I just started questioning everything and asking myself what I felt and what I thought and what felt right to me. And it was, you know, it was a huge journey, but yeah, that was the beginning.
Yeah, that sounds really deep. To relate, I don't know how I would react either. Like something happens to someone I love. I hope that never happens. But
yeah, Matt just said like that's really deep, and he doesn't know how he would respond to it. But the only thing I can say is that it was such a loving presence. Like, it felt so warm and so gentle that it was familiar because it was him. So it wasn't scary, if you get what I mean.
And maybe you kind of answered the next question already then. It's when did you have your first spiritual experience? I guess that would be sometime after your ex passed away, or was it a really big one?
So the sound's a bit funny, so I'm going to repeat what Matt said. He was basically saying that he thinks this might link to the question I just asked, but when did I have my first spiritual experience? I honestly can't pinpoint when I had my first. I mean, yeah, that was my first spiritual experience, and then, but I was also grieving, so I'll say how I got into watching spiritual videos. So because I could feel Michael, that's his name, my ex-partner, because I could feel his presence, I still do, but obviously it was more I guess significant in the beginning because I hadn't ever experienced that before. I started to look into like medium readings and things like that, and I read a book of Dolores Cannon, and I watched her videos on YouTube because she did a book, I believe it was called, I can't remember it. I don't think it's called Life After Death, but I read it like 2 years ago. I can't remember. And so I was watching her videos on YouTube, and in the suggestions, Aaron Doughty kept coming up. And if I'm being really honest, like, because the thumbnails all had like, you must do this, and if you just do this, and like that stuff kind of turns me off, because it's like, if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. But anyway, I kept seeing his videos, and one day I watched one, and his enthusiasm is infectious, and I could tell he was genuine, even if I didn't agree with everything that he believes. I could feel his genuineness. And then I started to watch some of his videos, and then a while after that I started to watch more and learn more and read more, and go down the rabbit hole. Okay.
All right. The next one is from Abby. What is your favorite quote? If you have one.
favourite quote for ages, and it's so simple, but for me it rings true, and it's just treat others as you wish to be treated.
Simple, and truthful.
Yeah.
All right, the next one is, what is the most rewarding? What is most rewarding about what you do now?
What is most rewarding about what I do now? So I guess she's referring to my spiritual counselling. Counselling in general, not just now that I offer spiritual counselling and I'm doing it independently, because in the past I worked for various organisations. I did counselling for Childline, a bereavement service, and an independent living centre. And I think what's always so humbling and makes me feel so grateful is people putting their trust in me. And it's something I never take for granted, because somebody letting you into their internal world is no small thing. And it really does, you're giving somebody the ultimate trust. You're being really vulnerable with them. And it's not always easy to be vulnerable. So I really appreciate it, and I think with my counselling work, I'm a pretty patient person, but I'm not always patient. And like, for instance, I'm not keen on repeating myself too much in my general life. So if I've already said something about it, I just said that to you like literally a minute ago. But when it comes to my clients, I have endless amounts of patience. It's just, I go into another state. It's really hard to put it into words. I guess it's opening myself up to the purest level of connection that I can, to be that safe base for that person, so that they feel trusting and safe enough to go to places that are not easy. And I always say to people when we start that, I often say this, it often feels harder before it feels easier, because really seeing yourself is such a brave thing to do. This is going to be the last question that I answer, but I will do a part 2 because I've got quite a few other questions. All right, Matt?
She will do a part 2 and it'll be a lot better than it is. How does your previous job / degree experience help or influence your spiritual journey now?
How does my previous work experience influence my spiritual journey now? Well, counseling's all I've ever really done. But I'd say my life experience, I've lived a really full and varied life. I've experienced a lot of things, and I think that helps me to relate to people, because again, as I was saying earlier, shared experience I think is second to none. And my counselling work, it's so similar, but it is a bit different. I'd say because I get messages from spirit and information about people's past lives that relate to this life, I'm more direct in the way I give that, because spirit is very specific, and it's information that is really important for us to know, otherwise it wouldn't come through. But of course you can still do that in a kind way. I'd say I feel more natural doing this, but at the same time, in the beginning of my counselling work, I was new to it, so you always learn from experience and you gain confidence as you go with it. So I hope I've answered that question. Do you think I answered that question?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, I think you did. It had to do with, I think just, kind of clear beforehand and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Past experiences really help.
Yeah, for sure. So me and Matt are gonna do, sorry, what? There's a delay on the call, so we often speak over each other without meaning to. I was just saying that we're gonna do more videos together, but we're gonna do it where we can split the screen because I'm not sure how much you would have heard him. But thank you, Matt. I super appreciate it.
Yeah, may I say one thing before I hang up?
Of course.
So they can hear me? Yeah, no, I just want to say to anybody, just try to accomplish one thing every day, no matter how little it is. And,
Yeah.
whatever troubles you're going through, you go, if you fail, you'll pick yourself back up again. And it's the most basic of sayings, but you'll get through it.
Yeah.
A little bit at a time. So,
I'm gonna repeat what you
peace
said.
and love.
Peace and love,
That's
motherfucker.
Take care, everybody.
So I'm just going to repeat what you were saying, so because it's like important for them to hear it. So he was just saying, you know, accomplish one thing every day, you know, whatever it is. I'm paraphrasing, but however big or small it is, just accomplish one thing every day. And what was the thing you said at the end? The saying?
If you're going through something difficult, you'll get through it. And it doesn't matter if you fail. We all fail multiple times before we start to accomplish something. So,
Yeah, and he said if you're going through something difficult, you'll get through it. It doesn't matter if you fail, we all fail. And it's so true. We learn, think of all the times we've all learned from mistakes. We learn so much from messing up. So it's like, we should encourage ourselves to mess up because we learn from it, and then it changes, right? When you learn, you get to make a different choice. And even if you don't make a different choice, you get to make a different choice the next time. So yeah, go easy on yourself. So, thank you so much, Matthew.
Yeah, no problem. I'll let you finish up, and then I appreciate you letting me be on, and I hope we can figure some stuff out and make this better next time.
For sure.
Take care of anyone listening, and I'll talk to you later, Natalie.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
So thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, I will do a part 2. It would super help me if you like the video. Please like it, please subscribe, because it just really helps me to get my videos out there. And yeah, take care everyone, have a great evening.